of Snow and Whirlpools, Chapter 5, Yokai and Jinchuriki. What is this? Naruto asked as his guide Kasejin was showing him around the village as well as Haku. Kurama had requested to go with Hana instead. He was referencing the large temple in the west side of the village. The temple itself was large and ominous. Two 15-foot snakes of stone guarding the arch entrance where an inscription lay on the obsidian building. 8 strikes as one, complete control, complete cooperation. The devil lived in balance, only to be killed by a single blade, the key to his defeat. This, Kasenjin seemed a little hesitant. This is one of the temples here in Oniji. He sighed. Oniji is home to 2 temples of great importance here in the elemental nations. The first one was built in honor of the moon. She is called by many names, most notably Tsukiyomi. Her temple is on the east side of the village, just as the moon rises on the east, following the sun each day. This temple is different, he spoke. It is dedicated to a grand demon only trimmed in strength by your Biju sensei at her full strength. A beastly snake yokai with 8 heads on one body and powers to take on even minor gods easily and match the strength of Susanoo, Tsukiyomi, and Amaterasu evenly. This is the temple of Orochi, the 8-headed serpent demon. What is it, Naruto-kun? Haku asked as she grasped his hand. She could feel something in him through the bond. She wasn't sure exactly what it was, like a pull, as if the temple was calling to Naruto. I want to go inside. Naruto stayed quietly. Kasejin's crimson orbs widened. What? Are you sure, Uzumaki-sama? Absolutely. I am positive that I need to go inside. You may stay if you wish. Naruto stepped between the statues of the serpents, Haku at his side. Fingers intertwined, Kasejin looked reserved, but sighed and stepped forward. He still let some iron sand trickle out of his sleeves just in case. The trio stepped inside, and it was incredibly dark inside. Only the ominous light of torchlight granting any bit of illumination to allow them the ability to see even a slight distance within the ancient building. Shadows stretched over the building, and the first room, upon entering, had pillars holding on the second floor up. Stone serpents curled upon them, and gazing at the center of the room, ruby eyes glistening in the soft amber torchlight. Creepy, Haku mumbled, and gripped Naruto's hand tighter. He turned his head and smiled to her. Hold on, Hime, he said softly, and rose his right hand, a ball of blue foxfire materializing and staying there even as he lowered his hand back, looking in his eyes. She was surprised they were crimson with black slit pupils. He was in Zero-Tails mode. The demonic art, which light lets me make an orb of light using yokai that stays until I stop channeling yokai in my body, he explained. To the question she didn't have to ask because of their bond. That is really cool, Senjin said as he stood on Naruto's right side looking at him. What's it made from? Naruto stopped and let the watchlight flow to the center of the room, illuminating the whole chamber. The other 2 halting their motion as well. The ball moved forward, the trio following it as he replied, It's made of blue foxfire. It's not near as hot as phoenix fire or hellfire, but still hotter than white hot flames that normal fire release can make. The reason no heat escapes it, though, according to Kurama sensei, It's because the yokai keeping it together only allows the light to escape. It is if it collided with another object though, it would give them an unhealable burn and set the area around the point of impact ablaze. Hearing this, Kasenjin made sure not to get too close to the white light. They soon reached the other end of the chamber and Naruto spotted a spiraling staircase leading down. In there, that's where we need to go for sure. His companions looked less than enthusiastic towards the prospect of going underground, but they didn't say anything about their qualms. The stairs look a bit old though. I think we should go one at a time. He explained, I don't think it would be a good idea to cause any property damage in a temple. I'm the guide, so I'll go first, Kasenji told the Uzumaki, who nodded and stepped aside for the boy. As the younger puppeteer went down the stairs, Naruto had his witch light hover down with him to give him some light. After about 15 seconds, Haku looked at her soulbound, who smiled. I can go next, Hakuhime. She shook her head. You aren't going first or last. You do realize that we can just walk on the walls, right? Naruto searched for words before face palming. Haku giggled before grabbing his hand and pulling him along. You wanted to take the stairs, so go ahead. I'll take the ninja route. The blonde chuckled and began walking down the stairs as he materialized another witch light, while Haku walked along the wall just behind him. Once they got to the bottom, they spied Kasenjin. The redhead looked at Haku and sighed. Why didn't think of that? He wondered though. Haku remained silent with a simple smile on her lips. Naruto dismissed one of his orbs as he looked around. Wow, this place is creepier than the rooms upstairs, Haku offered. This chamber was mostly open with columns along either side holding up the roof, each one with stone snakes wrapped around them, and their eyes, which were actually large yellow topaz, were trained on the center of the room, where a hole was. A single snake ahead, standing there while its neck and body was not visible. Its jaw was open though, with a large scroll in between its fangs. Hey Kasenjin, what's in that scroll? Naruto asked the puppeteer, realizing it was what was pulling on him. Kasenji shrugged. This temple is actually forbidden. You see, no one but the 5 samurai and my mother are allowed to come in here, and they never do for certain reasons. At his 2 companions' look, he continued, though with hesitation. Well, I'm not sure of all the specifics, since I was very young when it happened, but this place is not a normal temple. It was at one time open to the public, but after something went missing, anytime people came in besides the Ronin and my Kasan, things happened. That doesn't explain much, Naruto replied while he continued to write the scroll. It was calling to him. He had to have it. Well, like I said, I was too young. All I remember is that some people ended up getting injured on the lower levels and even a few dying, and the temple was shut off to the public. Only the moon shrine is still open. Haku kept her eyes on her soulbound, taking his hand. He shook his head, getting rid of those thoughts. For Snake Demon's temple, there is a distinct lack of serpents here. He pointed it out, getting a nod from his companions. Is that right? A voice echoed around them, around the room they were in. The trio tensed, Naruto laying a hand on the hilt of Kubikiri Bochum, Haku reaching for Fu no Daikama, and Kasenji's dust gathering around him. Maybe we're just hiding. In a single moment, the stone snakes around the 2 of the pillars uncurled and shot right at the 3 shinobi, rock becoming scales mid-flight, with mouths wide open. Iron sand wrapped around one of them, snapping its neck while Naruto and Haku slashed out blades of wind at the second, leaving it in several pieces that writhed around erratically in the throes of death. Show yourself, Haku demanded, as frost coated the area around her feet. Backing up, the three were able to watch all directions. Who are you? The guardians of this temple. The voice spoke up from one side of the room. There is but one scroll left from the ones 8 that recited here. 7 scattered across the lands by thieves who stole without first seeking our master's permission. The voice was then on the other side, making them surprised. We're not here to steal anything, Kasenji replied, glancing around. Others have said the same. Why should you be believed? We were just curious, Naruto spoke up. Something called me to this place. I just want to know what it is. Silence reigned over the chamber until that voice spoke in its whispery tone again. Is that so? It was quiet a moment later when another whispery voice, too low for the three to hear, came from where the voice had. A few moments more, the first voice spoke, amusement clear. It seems the bars are opening once more. My master wishes to test you. Test us? Haku wondered when suddenly torches lit up the whole room, revealing a single figure that wasn't human, nor was it snake. It was the only way to describe the thing, as it was green, scaly, with a human-like upper body and a snake's tail for lower body. The arms slender but clawed, stained black with what was likely blood. As for the creature's face, it had slits for nostrils, amber eyes with slit pupils, no hair, and an elongated mouth that gave it the appearance of a snake's fangs, protruding and dripping with purple liquid that steamed every time the substance hit the stone floor. A sacrifice for Orochi-sama. You three or myself will die today. This is your test. Now die. In a blur of motion, the thing rushed forward, causing speed that tail didn't look capable of traveling. Clawed hands came down to crush Naruto. In a killing blow he couldn't dodge when a cloud of powdered iron came up in a shield above him, granting him time to jump away. Thanks, Kasenjin, he muttered as the legendary Sambato he possessed came up, painting at the thing. Rushing forward, Naruto held the blade low and slashed at the snake being smoked when it balanced on its tail, moving around the blade's path like a contortionist, springing forward with claw extended to tear into his flesh. Quickly channeling his chakra, he performed a karirimi with one of the dead snakes, catching warily as the corpse fell, where its claws gashed the scale. We need to be smarter, Naruto-kun, Haku warned him, getting him to nod in agreement. She channeled chakra into her scythe, slamming the staff into the ground. Ice-style divine tundra. Immediately the entire chamber frosted over, icicles hanging from the ceiling, ice coating the columns, snow covering the floor around them, and only chakra allowing the shinobi to stay above it. The cold might have been slightly uncomfortable for Kasenji, not even affecting Haku or Naruto, but the reptilian humanoid was noticeably affected, a look of pain crossing its face. Looks like ice might be the best option against this thing, Naruto noted, channeling ice chakra through his blade. It was covered in a blue layer of jagged spikes, resembling another of the 7 swords in appearance. "Ready, Naruto-kun?" Haku asked as she stood next to him, getting a nod. In twin bursts of speed with synchronous movement that was thanks to their telepathic link. The two each slashed at the thing with their blades. It appeared that even with the cold, the monster was still too fast for them, slipping in between the blades as it sailed overhead, springing back to attack them from behind. If not for a large steel snake, the Uzuyuki duo might have been impaled. Quickly turning, they jumped forward as the snake moved. With a slash, multiple ice shards sped right towards the monster. Ice style, sword art, Winter's heart. The target was much too quick for most of the projectiles though the trio noticed with satisfaction that one grazed his shoulder. They could hit it, and it seemed the creature was in pain from the freezing blade. With his blade once more flat, Naruto held it out horizontally, watching as Haku flipped onto it with his hand held out. He caught her side spinning before slashing with the Sanbato. Haku was flying right from his weapon and at the creature without any sails. A mirror formed behind the creature, which Haku landed on vertically, catching the scythe Naruto had thrown and slashing at it. As well, usual as was usual, it dodged, but Haku was prepared this time, sinking into the mirror. A half dome of the same kind appeared in the chamber, demonic, mirroring ice crystals. In each one stood Haku, and without warning, dozens of Senbon shot out from them, impaling the snake person before the scythe spun through the air and nearly sliced through its head. As it dodged, the scythe that was stuck in the ground was suddenly replaced by Naruto, who slashed down at the thing's neck with the usual grace. It barely dodged, not noticing the cloud of iron sand that came behind it. Until the last moment, several cuts littered the thing's scales, but it still was alive until Naruto and Haku appeared on either side, thumb and forefinger forming a circle in front of their mouths. Ice-style freezing mist jutsu. A large cloud of bone-chilling mist spread from their mouths, covering the snake thing entirely and preventing further movement as it froze solid. A new ice sculpture was still, as Naruto and Haku had ragged breaths that showed in the cold chamber. Gripping her scythe, Haku retracted her divine tundra, returning the area to its normal temperature. That was unexpected, Senji pointed out as he sealed his snake puppet into a scroll, hiding it on his person. The Uzuyuki pair nodded, standing straight once more as a new voice appeared over the entire chamber. The voice was accompanied by a presence that bore down upon all three of them. This presence was heavy, like killer intent, but not malicious, as if it was simply there. "I see you passed my test. I had a feeling you would. The scroll is yours now, demon summoner. Your tenant will know what it does. Now leave me." A flash of light, that's all it was, a flash of crimson light, and then the three found themselves covering their eyes instinctively against the sunlight that poured down upon them in an instant. Wait, sunlight? Three looked around to find themselves outside the temple once more. Naruto had a large scroll in hand as well. "I think it would be best if we stay away from that place and never tell Kasan or the samurai of this," Kasenji noted surprisingly. In a nod from the two Uzuyuki. "Come on, let's go find Kurama Sensei," Naruto told them, leading them out.